she lived not even 2 minutes from the hospital. So it was a quick ride over there. And, the doctor came out and told us that they couldn't revive her.
Yeah.
And she had passed away. My name is Amanda, and my sister Carrie had the sleeve gastrectomy in February of 2013. And me and my sister Carrie, were best friends. We clearly grew up together as children. We moved about an hour and a half away from her hometown. She was 3 years older, so she moved down to the Indianapolis area. When I graduated, I followed suit, lived together on and off up until probably my mid-20s.
Okay.
But even then, just to go into how close we truly were as siblings and best friends, even when we did have our own homes, she always lived within walking distance. The first house I owned, I could see her house in my backyard.
Oh,
The
wow.
house that I lived in up until about 2 years, 3, 4, I don't know, a few years ago, was literally four houses down from hers. So we were very close.
Yeah.
She was my best friend. If you ever asked me, she was my best friend. And so I was alongside her through her journey. Although I had considered it for myself, I think about 3 years before Carrie decided to go through the process. I just personally, for me, chose not to have it, not for any other reason that I just didn't think it was the right choice for me.
Yeah.
But she decided to have it, and I was, supportive. We brought her balloons and cheered her on after she came out of surgery and was released from the hospital, and, brought her clothes because she had already lost some weight and her clothes weren't really fitting. So
Yep.
Very much so supportive. When she was drinking, I think one of her main go-tos through the first part of the process was almond milk with like chia seeds and vanilla. So she was getting her protein and things like that, part of the liquid diet, I believe, leading up to it. So I was there through the whole thing and going out to dinner with her and like sharing meals with her. So she was getting small portion sizes and things. So for her, like, not only was she my sister, but I would consider myself one of the people on her side going through her journey of being supportive, as supportive as I could be, not understanding everything that she was going through. So yeah, that's who I am to her in relation to this story. So she had surgery, and I guess right here, do you want me to just go into?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was going to say, so for everyone listening, so we are talking about her sister's journey. It's definitely different than what we've heard before. And I wanted to shine light on this because this is serious. This happens to people and we don't talk about it enough in this community. Transfer addiction is real and it's not a game. So what we're going to learn from Amanda is what her take was on watching her sister go through the process and how things turned out for Carrie. Now, I do want to ask before you start her journey is, what was her high weight? Do you remember what her why was? What was like the reason she's like, you know what? I'm done with this. I got to have surgery.
So I, about a month ago, parts you can clip out. So as part of going through my own grief journey and understanding the why that this happened, I did have her medical records pulled about a month ago.
Okay.
Just to also ensure that I had the right dates on things. I was going by memory, going by emails, going by pictures that had been taken, but I wanted to confirm. And also, I didn't know for certain that she had the sleeve.
Okay.
For a long time, I thought she had Roux-en-Y, but she had the sleeve. So I pulled the medical records, and the highest weight on there was a little over 400 pounds.
Okay.
And for reference, she was 5'6", 5'7".
Okay.
And when she had surgery, she was 40, maybe 40, 41, somewhere around there. 40,
okay.
39. Anyway, late 30s, early 40s when she had surgery.
Okay.
39, I would say, because she passed away when she was 44, and it was 5 years post-op. So 400 pounds, clearly unhealthy. She never told me for certain if she was diabetic, I never asked. Like, we just didn't really talk about our health like that unless it was some big, scary concern
Right.
that we are having. To my knowledge, she had never been on blood pressure meds. But looking back, she had started having, before surgery, some diabetic. As I've come to understand as a not medical professional, that they'll start getting like dark. Their skin will darken up.
Yes.
It'll
Yeah.
be So I started noticing on her forehead, and on the back of her neck, and didn't know at the time that it could be a sign of diabetes. And she never really told me verbatim what her why was, but knowing my sister, I would believe there's a few things for her why. Just the unhealthy lifestyle
Mhm.
of being 400 pounds, as well as potentially having diabetes. And her and I travel a lot, or traveled a lot together. We would go probably 3 vacations a year.
Oh, wow.
And I think as she had started gaining more weight, it was more cumbersome for her to navigate, like going to Europe with their cobblestone streets, or going to, the biggest one that sticks out to me is being in Puerto Rico and trying to go up to the hill that they have up to not the lighthouse, but where they have the setting for when they were fighting in wars.
Oh,
So
okay.
there was this big hill to get up to it. And she just decided to not get off the cruise ship. It was on a cruise, and she stayed on the cruise ship. And I believe it's just because of her inability to either do it, or her fear of not being able to do it.
Yep.
So I saw that her reduction in what she would do and true enjoying her vacations and her life. So from my perspective, I believe that was her why.
Hmm.
But I don't know for certain if that's what she would say if she were here.
Yeah.
But I saw those things happening, and I realized like she understands her weight is now causing her to live the life that she wants to live.
Yeah. I mean, from listening to other people talk and even through my own journey, because I used to be over 300 pounds, I would start doing that where because I have a kid and we would just not do certain things because I knew it'd be painful. I knew I'd be sweaty mess. I knew I was going to be cranky afterwards, and I didn't want to be like a burden on people and show that side of me. So I would just not walk up the sand dunes or go up these high hills because I'm
Yep.
like, oh, I felt so like, I just felt ashamed of myself because I was like, why can't I do this? Why did I let this happen to myself? So I can only imagine if she's staying on the ship because of that. That would definitely be a big deterrent and wanting me to change my life. So I totally feel your sister on that because it's so painful. My knees, my hips, like
Yes. I
it's,
mean,
the whole nine, your back, like it's a
I'm
wild.
clearly obese myself, so I get it. I have not reached the 400 pound point, and I'm fearful of doing that. So I
Yeah.
do my own things to change my own lifestyle, but there are times I see it myself of, oh gosh, I'm going to huff and puff. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, even this past weekend, I did a lot of walking. And I told some of the people because they've had bariatric surgery, I was like, this is so wild for me. And they're like, what? I was like, because I used to count how long it would take me to get there. And just so I knew how bad it was going to be coming back. And
Yes,
right?
I do that.
Yeah. And I didn't do that on this last trip in Canada. And I was like, this is so wild. Like, I
That's
thought I was
great.
going to be I thought I was going to be huffing and puffing because my brain still thinks I'm over 300 pounds. And I was starting to count. And because we were doing some distance, and I'm like, no, we're okay. You're in a different body now. Like, try to talk myself down. But yeah, I would definitely make sure I had enough energy to go there and back. So old Mel would be like, hey, how far are we going? Because some people forget you have to walk that back.
Yep.
And my big
Street stuff looks really comfortable for the next half hour. You guys go have fun. I'll see you on the way down.
Yep, because we knew what that pain was going to be like. So I totally understand and empathize with you and your sister. So that happened. She got surgery. What year did she get surgery?
2013, February of 2013.
February 2013. Okay. So
Mhm.
that's a little over a decade ago. So how did the surgery go itself? Did that seem fine?
Surgery went fine. She
Awesome.
was, followed had no complications.
Awesome.
So wasn't there was, no additional surgeries needed. Like what 2 years post-op, she did have her gallbladder out, which I know is also pretty common
Yep.
in the bariatric community. Also, no complications with that. She was in and out of the hospital, I think, in 24 hours.
Okay.
So
Good for
no
her.
complications. Everything was good. She was following her post-op um, food, like the going from the liquid into the small portion sizes and small, like softer foods, and then on to real foods. And so she
Okay.
followed that. She did have on occasion like dumping
Yeah.
when she ate something that didn't agree with her.
Oh, yeah.
So I would
It's not
say, as
fun.
far as,
Yep.
yeah, like the surgery itself, it did what it's supposed to do. I mean, she lost a significant amount of weight. I think she went from like a size 28, possibly 30, to size 14, 16,
Oh,
or
wow.
lower. 12.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think she got into 10, 12s at one point in time.
Very
Um,
cool. So she did the damn thing. She got the
she
weight
did it.
off. She did the damn thing. So
She did it for
did
sure.
she seem really like in it in the first few years?
Oh, yeah. She was so happy. Like, I'll go back and look at pictures. And so it wasn't her 40th, because her 40th is when we went to Hawaii, which is um, like that was one of her bucket list things that she wanted to do, was to go to Hawaii. So we did that. Now her birthday was in May. We didn't go to Hawaii until like September of that year, which was 2014.
Okay.
Um, so that was what, a year and a half after
After.
surgery.
Yeah.
And I would say that's when she was in a size 10, 12, and just her smile in those pictures, just her demeanor in the pictures compared to, if I look at the few pictures I have of her before weight loss surgery, because also she would shy away from
Yep.
cameras. You
Yep.
can just see the difference in the light in her eyes and how happy and joyous that she was. And the thing we did in Hawaii was, there's a lighthouse that's on top of this very steep volcano, I
Mhm.
believe.
Okay.
Um, and she was so happy and excited to go up it. Like, she was, working out regularly. She was walking every day. She would go for walks. Like, she would go to different parks in the area that I live in. We have a ton of nature trails.
Oh, cool.
So she would go, that'd be her thing. She would walk. She wasn't a jogger. She did go to the gym and work with a trainer one-on-one for a while to get to learn like some of the weights and the resistance bands and
Hmm.
things like that. But her like go-to exercise was generally some form of walking. So she was so excited about that. But yeah, like I could see the change. I could see how much happier she was, that she was able to do things, putting on a swimsuit again and a new body. She was so excited to show me the new one, that it wasn't necessarily a two-piece, but it was like a mesh middle. And she was so excited, like, I never thought I could do this before.
Yeah.
So overall, that portion up until then, total success. Was totally happy, totally thrilled for her. Um, so yeah, it was a
That makes
success.
that makes me really happy because I remember the first time where I could go to a regular store and get a swimsuit. So I
Yes.
and I'm currently at a 10. So like, cause I used to be 24. So
Hmm.
I'm at a 10 and that was like the best feeling to go into a Target and get
Hmm.
a swimsuit and I
So
forgot
close. Yeah.
it. Yeah, and just be able to get anything I needed. And then I remember the first time I wore something that just showed like the middle of my tummy and I felt so awkward, but everybody was like, "It looks good." And I'm like,
Yes.
"Okay."
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna do
Yep.
it. Woohoo. So I love that she got to experience, some bucket list items. She really got into it, got her weight under control. So unfortunately, this is going to be a sad story, guys. So what was the change? What made her go on a different trajectory?
I don't know for certain. I can tell you my assumptions, and we talked about things, and I don't think that she even knows like what happened or
Okay.
knew what happened. Because again, we were very close. And I'll preface this by saying, I it my degree field that I worked in was I spent the first 5 years out of college working with a higher population of drug and alcohol people that with addiction.
Okay.
So I have some, I guess, background
Yeah.
knowledge that the average spouse or brother, sister, family member might not have. So I don't know that she even really knew, but what I know from this is that, she got to her goal weight.
Okay.
And prior to surgery, she didn't really date. She didn't really leave. People would come to her house. She would have parties. She had friends. It was a small circle. But she wasn't. I've always been the outgoing. I'm going to the club. I'm doing this. I'm going partying, going to see all the people. And we were pretty much polar opposites in that way.
Okay.
And what I saw happening was she started dating.
Okay.
And a lot of times with dating and or being more involved in social activities, in the United States, a lot of times social activities involve alcohol.
Yes. Yes.
And pre-op, literally my sister would maybe drink 6 times a year.
Okay. So she's not a drinker before
She was
surgery.
not a drinker.
Okay.
Like I was the one, and I will continue to say this, like I have so many pictures of me holding alcohol, drinking, partying all through my 20s. Like the weekends, technically, if I had asked a doctor, I probably would have been classified as a binge drinker, like on weekends. It didn't impact my day-to-day Monday through Friday, but on the weekends, I'm out partying.
Mhm.
Carrie, never like that. She did not do that. So she would have a glass of wine here and there, or we would go to a Jimmy Buffett concert, which she loved. And, she probably would drink past the legal limit at that point in time. But that was once a year. And other than that, it would be just some cocktails here and there. She was never a partier. She was never a drinker. And now she's going out and having dates and has this new body and this new confidence and is, getting attention from, people that she normally or historically hadn't got attention from. And I think that's what really started the drinking, was just what a lot of people do is social drink. They'll go out to dinner with a friend and have a beer, or go out, to somebody's house playing cards. She loved to play poker, and have a cocktail or whatever. And I think it just started escalating from there. And I believe by the time alcohol really had its hold on her, she didn't herself know what was happening.
Okay.
She just, based upon, again, I'm not a medical professional, but based upon what I have read about people that have had bariatric surgery, is that, it changes clearly your stomach changes. It changes the way you metabolize alcohol. It changes the way you react, your brain, your reward system, to alcohol. It changes how you process the alcohol. So you get drunk really quick and you feel like you're sober really quick, but you're not. Your blood alcohol content actually stays pretty high and goes slower than it would in somebody like me that's not had surgery. So I think it's just, she started drinking like a lot of people will, not realizing that there is that potential or that concern with either transfer addiction or alcohol use disorder. And it went from a cocktail here and there to more and more. And, I don't know when she really got to the point of what a doctor would consider having a disorder. I know I began noticing it in, I would say, 2015. I started. Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yep. Oh.
I would say, okay. I would say I started noticing in 2015, early to mid 2015, that her face, I could always tell by looking at her face, because her muscles would relax.
Okay.
And like, I don't know how to explain it, but when you have known somebody your entire life, you know what their normal RBF looks like.
Yeah.
And I would say that it looked wrong. Like something in my head said, there's something's off. And so I would start asking her questions, and, you know, I don't want to say pressuring her, but pressuring her, like, what's going on? What's happening? And
Yeah.
she finally did. And I can't tell you what the date was. Like, this wasn't something I was thinking about I would ever be talking about. But I did ask her, like, are you having issues with alcohol? And, like, are you drinking more often? And she admitted that, yes, she was drinking more often. And yes, she was concerned and worried about her drinking.
Okay.
Um, and so so it was 2015, late 2015 when this conversation happened. So it was a lot of back and forth. She admitted to my father. My mother had passed away in 2012. So it was me, her, and my dad. And my dad lived 10, 15 minutes away from us in the same city. So she admitted to him that she had a problem, um, and kind of used him as somebody to go to a safe space for her.
Okay.
Because she knew I wouldn't say I wasn't supportive. I was extremely supportive, but I was the probably what she would have classified as the mean one, because I wouldn't let her sweep things under the rug. We're
Yes.
going to talk about it. We're going to address it. You
Yeah.
know, why is this happening? What are you doing? And I would set my own boundaries, because it got to a point where I just could not put myself around her because it broke my heart. It
Oh.
put me in a bad place.
Yeah.
It wasn't healthy for me. So I would set boundaries with her and be like, if you're drinking, if there's alcohol involved, I'm not coming. I don't want to be near you. I don't want to be around you. And it came from me not being able to fix it. I couldn't
Ah.
fix this for her. I
Right.
couldn't force her to do anything. So I set those boundaries. So I would say, from 2015 up until her passing in 2018, there would definitely be times where I didn't know what was going on with her, because she wouldn't tell me, because
Yeah.
she knew that I would call her out on it. Every time I knew that she had been drinking, I'd call her out and be like, "You've been drinking." "No, I haven't, Carrie. You're lying to me." "Okay, yeah, I've been drinking."
Yeah.
"Okay, what do we need to do? What do you need help with?" Like, at this point in time, she has a boyfriend that has moved in with 3 kids,
Oh, okay. That's a
and
life change. Mhm.
life change.
Yeah.
And I'll do my best to be not. I'll just say there was a life change there for her,
Okay.
and it wasn't necessarily one that I was supportive of.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now, I got a couple questions.
mhm.
One, is there any addiction issues in the family? Like I have a shit ton. So like I come
Yeah,
from drunks, so I'm wondering, yeah. Okay, so that's
I
in the blood already.
yeah, I will say my father and my father's side of the family, 100%. I have a cousin who is my sister. They were 13 days apart. His birthday's at the beginning of May. Hers is mid-May. And he's doing he's not had bariatric surgery or anything like that, but he had an issue he was an alcoholic, and
Yeah.
he's been in rehab, and now he's been clean and sober for 7 years now, 6 years. So he's doing
Congratulations to
amazing.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
my ex-husband's an
mhm.
alcoholic, so I get it.
You're,
I come from
mhm.
alcoholics, so I'm like, you
Yeah.
can tell the telltale signs. For those that don't know, I would say like from experience, they get very like upset when you talk about alcohol at all. And it could even be in a good manner. There are like you can tell they're on their tippy toes waiting for you to say something negative to them. And I could just be talking about how like I'm gonna go have alcohol. And I remember Eric just being like, is she gonna say anything? Like, is she gonna, you know what I mean? So I can just imagine what your sister was like when you would bring it up, because as a sister, you should be bringing it up. Like, I think you were doing exactly what you should have been doing. And I can see why she was going to her father, because he had issues and probably can relate a little bit more. And he's not going to ask those tough questions. And she knows that you will. And I get that. It sucks because then we really can't do anything. Like, they have to want to do it. So she
Yes.
went from not drinking really ever to now, what is she drinking? Like every day? Is it just the weekends? What are you thinking?
I would say the first, I don't know, 6 to 9 months when she started being more social and going on dates, I would say it was just that social drinking
Okay.
and sure it went from like one drink to 2 or 3 a night.
Mhm.
So I
Okay.
don't know how that escalated as far as the the social drinking when she was playing cards, because she'd go home to her house after that. I didn't know what she was. I knew
I was
she
going
was
to
playing
say,
cards, but I wouldn't know if she came home drunk.
got it.
Um,
Would she
but
drink alone?
yes, she got
Yes.
to the point. She was drinking. I'm not good with sizes of bottles.
That's okay.
A pint. I know she was drinking a pint of vodka um, every day or every other day.
Oh,
I
wow.
know
Okay.
we found. Now, with this, she maintained employment up until the day she passed away. So when I say she was a functioning alcoholic,
She was
she
a
she was
functioning.
functioning.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she called in sick and she did take some FMLA for going to rehab. Um, but again, she maintained her employment. So I would, we worked also pretty close to each other. And sometimes we would carpool, and there would be times that she would come out and I knew that she had been drinking, but
Mhm.
it wasn't to the point of like fall down, knock out
Right.
drunk,
Right.
enough for her to maintain throughout the day without having withdrawal. So yeah, she got up to the point. Yeah, she was drinking all day, every
Wow.
day. Um,
So what made her go to rehab?
we did an intervention,
You did an intervention.
100%.
Good
She
for
had already
you.
been going
Okay.
to therapy. She had
Good.
already been seeking a therapist for help. And that therapist, I spoke to her, and she had somebody that has whatever licensing, accreditation,
Mhm.
whatever, for doing actual interventions. So we hired her, and she sat down. Melanie, I think it was her name. Melanie sat down with my sister, or sorry, with my father, my father, myself.
No.
Is it clicking for you at all?
It did
Sorry.
click. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we sat down. My father, myself, and her boy sat down with Melanie, the lady, to do the intervention.
Okay.
We talked through uh, what our concerns were, and she talked about us writing, like setting our, um, like, if you do this, this is our reaction, like what we're going to have to do. We want you to go, and coming from a loving place, not like, we hate that you drink and you need to get sober, or we're just going to disown you. It was more
Right.
like the letters that you write. I tell people watching intervention on TV is somewhat similar. Take away the cameras. We are
Yeah.
in her living room, uh, sitting down. We all had letters that we spoke with, of like, we are asking you to go to inpatient, to go do a detox. We love you. We see the path that you're on. We're concerned for you. We're concerned for your health. We want to be supportive. We don't know how to support you. We're not medical professionals. We don't
Yep.
know how to handle withdrawal. We don't know how to make sure you succeed. There's definitely some mental health components of
Yeah.
addiction, and we're not the ones that can do that. We
Right.
love you,
Yeah.
but we need you to see somebody that can help you heal, and we'll be here to support you. So we did an intervention, and she wouldn't go that day.
Okay.
She was like, I need, and again, coming as somebody who's worked with addiction before, I need a day. I need that. They're always somebody that's an addict is always going to try to delay the inevitable,
Yep.
or one more drink, or one more whatever. She did self admit the next day to
Okay.
a detox center, and she was there 10 days in late 2017. Late
Oh,
2017 is when we finally got her to go.
okay.
Um,
But
and
only
again,
10 days. She didn't go any
only
longer
10
than.
days.
Yeah.
She did not. So she went for 10 days, and they got her detoxed.
Mhm.
And, I'm the one that took her to the facility, and she had stopped drinking. She had drank the night before. So the next morning, she did not start drinking again before she went to detox. And I had taken her to like CVS to get some toiletries, a toothbrush, and things like, stuff she wanted to take or needed to take. And she was shaking so bad from withdrawal that she couldn't get her credit card into the credit card machine,
But
because she was
yeah.
detoxing so bad, withdrawing so bad.
Yep.
So she was there for 10 days, and she did, group therapy and things like that. And she came out, and I would say she remained sober for maybe a week
Yeah.
before she picked up again.
Yep.
And then in March, between March and April, started in March, she went to an actual inpatient like home, a rehab
Oh, good.
home,
Okay.
not in a hospital setting or a medical, but like um, a home full of other people dealing with other types of withdrawal and addiction. And she was there for 42 days, and
Okay.
she remained sober for those 42 days. And I would say once she got out, and I thought I had lost my sister, the sister that I knew and that I loved, to alcohol at this
Mhm.
point in time. Like, will I ever see that sister that I saw on her 40th birthday trip to Hawaii? Will I ever see her again? Will I ever know her again? Because this sister is lying and hiding things and being sneaky, like things my sister never ever was.
Yeah.
Like, her and I told each other pretty much the good and the bad, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And I was afraid I would never see my sister again. She got out of this facility, this rehab center, and I don't know why it's a memory that sticks with me, but we were driving home, and she just looks at me. She's like, I have not felt this good in so long. And just seeing the joy and the happiness. And she's like, I don't know what meds they gave me. I don't know what trickery or sorcery they did. She's like, but I feel amazing. And like, for that
Oh,
glimpse
yes.
of a moment, I was like, I have my sister
You're
back.
like, there she is. She's
There
back.
she is.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it,
No.
about 30 days, and she started drinking again.
Wow.
And so I would say that was May, June time when she had started. She probably started in May. I probably noticed in May and June, and then in July she um, decided herself again to go back into detox, and she went into detox for 6 days in July of 2018,
Okay.
and got out of there. And I would say she remained sober for a few days, a couple weeks. I don't remember a lot. I can tell you the year of 2018 for me is a big garble of a lot of things that you know, don't I remember, but I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's a tough year.
yeah,
Yeah.
2018 was a tough year, and so she was out and started drinking again, and then November 26th of 2018, she was found unresponsive, and so EMTs came, and I don't know if you know what it is, but the Lucas machine that
Yeah.
automatically pumps. So I walked into her house, saw her laying there, saw four EMTs around her, saw them, pushing epi or basically trying to get her heart restarted, saw them
Yeah.
put the Lucas machine on her, and they wheeled her out of her home. And like,
Yeah.
I knew at that time.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my father had made it over to her house, so we were together. And, she lived not even 2 minutes from the hospital, so it was a quick ride over there. And, the doctor came out and told us that they couldn't revive her,
Yeah.
and she had passed away.
Oh my goodness. Amanda, that is rough. That is
Yep.
so rough. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like what you went through is insane. Having to see all that and still not being able to revive is wild, because I've watched my ex-husband die for 3 minutes and come back. So I know what that looks like. It's terrifying. I
Mm-hmm.
actually just talked about it with my therapist on Tuesday because I still haven't grieved it. I still have problems with it. So I can only imagine you have issues still with stuff like that, I would imagine. Now looking back though, do we know, because she was sober, you sounds like for a good, like you said 42 days and then a little bit after that. Did she ever talk to you about like what was her demon, like why she just needed that alcohol?
No,
No.
not specifically. And it, there were, to my knowledge, like, her and I had the same childhood, like the same parents, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have we were both Gen X. Of course, we had some, I'll say neglect. I don't mean
Yeah.
that. To me, like being home alone at 10 years old and cooking my own lunch was like that. That
That's
might be
normal.
considered neglect for some people. To me, that was normal, and I was
Yep.
fine with it. Mom's going to work. My parents were divorced, and my dad lived an hour and a half away. Today's standards, that'd probably be neglect. Standards back in the 80s, a little bit different. We weren't
Agreed.
neglected in this sense. We
Yep.
weren't neglected in the sense that we didn't have food, or we didn't have a parent, or we didn't have somebody, back then it was a village. The neighbors would call your mom
Yeah.
and tell her while she's at work what the heck you guys are doing.
Yep.
So we were not neglected. We were not abused. And yes, my father drank when we were younger.
Mhm.
But it was never, me and Carrie are also 3 years apart. So her memories of childhood are more, she probably has more than I do because I was the younger child.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
me
So she
processing
saw
things at
everything.
5, yeah,
Yeah.
but she saw it 8.
Yep.
I don't remember my father being drunk. I remember there always being beer around.
Okay.
Never hard liquor.
Yep.
On occasion, when my parents would have a party or be over at somebody's house or something, and we happened to be there, I would see hard liquor. But my dad, for the majority of his time drinking, it was beer. It wasn't hard liquor.
Yeah. And he
He
sounds
would,
like not a violent drunk, not a
no,
mean drunk, not going off
no,
on you girls. That's
no.
good. That's good.
So there's nothing that sticks out to me from our childhood that would be, there was no sexual abuse. There was no physical abuse. We weren't talked to disrespectfully or rudely or however you want to classify it. Like there were none of the normal factors that you might consider normal factors that you would think about when you think about somebody becoming addicted. There wasn't sexual assault, sexual abuse, physical abuse, being left alone in a house for 3 weeks or whatever with no food.
Right.
None of that stuff played a part in our childhood. We
So
had
it's-
divorced parents, but that was like the extent of it.
So it sounds like it really is a true transfer addiction here.
Yeah.
Where food was comfort. Food got her to 400 pounds. And then, all right, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to fix our life. And here goes 2-3 years later in the making. And now we're drinking a lot every day. Was that guy and the kids still living there when she passed?
That's his oldest daughter found her.
Oh, shit.
Called 911 and had to perform CPR on her until EMG got there.
Oh, that's tough for that kid, for sure.
Well, to be completely transparent, in his letter when we did the intervention, his statement was that if she didn't get sober, him and the kids would move out. And that intervention happened in 2016. I think.
So a year and a half, 2 years later.
And he's still lived there. So, yes, I feel bad for his child finding my sister.
Yeah.
I also know the parent could have had a little more control of that happening.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think the whole point of these interventions is to act on your own actions. Like if you say you're going to do this, you're going to have to do this, especially with people like this, because they think they can manipulate and change things and make you happy and make you stay. But if you hold on to what you said that you're going to do, that changes people's mindsets. Like, oh, they really meant that. Like, and if he said, like, if you don't stop drinking, then we're going to have to leave, then that should have happened.
It should have happened.
That should have happened.
Like, in my intervention, I said, if I know that you're driving drunk, I will call the police on you. And I did.
Yeah.
I called the police on her. It was, at that time, the hardest thing I'd probably ever done. I'm sobbing talking to the 911 dispatcher. Thankfully, she didn't get in an accident. I probably did the worst thing of all and followed her. But I got her to pull off in a dead-end road and kind of barricaded her in and called my father, who came and picked her up.
Good.
So
I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's great that you did that because she could have hurt someone.
She could have.
She could have hurt herself, someone else. Like these are very dangerous things. Like I know my ex's stepdad has 3 DUIs. I don't know how the hell he's on 3 and he has not been locked up. Like
How hard are they?
like the first one's really far apart because it was like the 90s, but the last two were pretty back to back. Like it was within 6 months of each other.
Oh, wow.
And I remember telling them, I go, I don't care that you guys are afraid of this man because he was a violent drunk. He
Mm-hmm.
was the one that would hit and throw things and be crazy. I go, I will call.
Mm-hmm.
I go, that is not my father. He's going to hurt someone. I do not give a fuck. Like, we are not playing games because
Yeah.
I've had friends and family members that have had to deal with drunk drivers getting like hurting their people. Like, this isn't a game. Like, a vehicle is a weapon. At the end of
Oh,
the day,
yes.
it can hurt anybody. And I
And
used to
multiple
work
people.
multiple people. I worked for Progressive for 5 years doing claims, and I would see so many crazy things. And drunk driving definitely is one of them. And seeing those left of centers, those are what scare me the most, because a left of center is where like basically they cross the line into you.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone does that going 45 plus, you're gone. The driver is gone because you guys
Yes.
are hitting each other so fast, and that inertia and everything going with it is insane. I've seen where people get, thrown through the windshields.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them just on the ground, outside of their cars. Like, I remember seeing those. I'm like, I got to transfer these out. Like, 'cause technically I wasn't supposed to be dealing with that kind of injury, but they get to, the very first people first before we can triage it. So like, I don't play when it comes to drink driving. I do not drink and drive. I will say I've done it one time when I was early 22, and I'll never do it again. I didn't hurt anybody, but I was scared shitless all the way home. Like, I was like, I'm going to hurt myself.
Hold on.
Yep. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, that's a cop. Does he know? Does he understand? Like, yep. Trying to like pat myself on the face 100%. So after being paranoid and then working with that and dealing with other people that's had to, have to deal with the grief because they got hurt by a drunk driver. We don't play that game. And I'm happy that you cornered her. You got her to not hurt herself or others. So like, don't ever feel bad about that. You were being a really good fucking sister.
Thank you.
And I think that don't worry about that, because it sounds like you've done as much as you can as a support person. Like you did the intervention, you guys talked to her. She's been in, it sounds like, rehab 3 or 4 times. So, it's a self thing, unfortunately.
Yes.
And
Yes.
did she stop going to therapy? It sounds like
No.
she might have. No.
She went to therapy. She was still weekly, if I remember. She was still going to therapy, and I think she was still like, she had her AA book. Like, I had a year after her passing, I was trying to get to the cleaning her stuff out, and I was going through her nightstand, and she had the medication that the naltrexone or whatever it's called, I think the one that makes you sick if you drink. So I found a bottle of that and her AA book, and I actually gave her AA book to a friend's father who's been sober for like 20 years, who leads AA meetings. So he could give it to somebody else, like a newcomer that needed a book.
Yeah.
So she was still trying, 100%. She was still trying. And I will never say that her mental health did not play. Clearly there was a demon or demons, that she was like waging war inside of herself.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
I just, the biggest thing for me in this is that demon was probably there before the surgery, which is why she got to 400 pounds.
Right.
And we have programs in the United States. I can't speak to what happens outside of the United States, but I know we have programs here. Even bariatric centers of excellence aren't required. It's not a requirement to teach people about transfer addiction. It is not a requirement to tell people that they're at higher risk after bariatric surgery.
Yep.
And it 100% should be. It ruins lives.
Yep.
It kills people. It ruins families. People lose their mothers. People have 3 children at home pass away. Like, it ruins lives.
Yep.
And that's kind of why I reached out to you and I started my entire TikTok account. Like, I think when I first started it, going back, I think it's been 4 years now, I was grieving. I was still
Mhm.
grieving her loss, and I was probably at a phase of anger with my first TikTok. And I got so many, like that first TikTok that I did, I think got more than 500,000 views. And that was like, oh crap. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not the only one. Like, this
Mm-mm.
isn't uncommon.
No.
And
No.
I was just like, okay, then there is definitely an opportunity to educate people. Like, what people do with their bodies, if they have surgery or not, I'm not anti-bariatric weight loss surgery. I am for myself. I know, based upon my sister's experience, my own mental health, my own drinking habits in my 20s, and like, I know it's not the best decision for me. I
Hmm.
made that choice,
Yep.
and that's
And an
all I want you to do.
educational one too.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
all my goal has ever been about talking about this with people is you are aware. You can make an educated decision based upon the information you have. When you're going through programs, they don't all teach the same thing. They don't all educate you on the same thing. And for the people that go through programs that aren't educated on this, they need to be. It is not fair, in my opinion. I don't want to say fair. Um, it's against the Hippocratic Oath, in my opinion, if surgeons are doing this without providing people the education of the risks.
I
And
agree.
it's not a tiny risk. I mean,
No. No.
it's not a small little, oh, it could happen. Oh, well, I don't drink. It'll never happen to me.
No.
Well,
Oh.
might not be alcohol,
Yep.
but you can end up gambling your house away or maxing out $300,000 in credit cards and going bankrupt.
Yep.
Like, alcohol tends to be, I think, the most common one statistically, and that's probably a large part of just society and in general of alcohol is so accepted and so ingrained in our social situations.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it's easy to hide a shopping addiction. Like, it's easier to hide a gambling addiction until it's too late and you're filing bankruptcy or you're losing your house.
Yep.
But like, it's such a, there is a risk. There is a large, in my opinion, large risk to have
Hmm.
some form of transfer addiction. So
Yeah, and
people need to be aware of it.
they really do. And that's why when you reached out, I was like, yeah, like we need to talk about this stat because you're right. It doesn't have to always be alcohol. Now, I agree with you. I think it's alcohol the most because it's easy and accessible, and we are very kind to our alcoholics. We really are. So, um,
We're
it's
kind to them until there's a problem.
exactly, and then
Until
we
they're
don't want to
truly
deal with it.
addicted. And then they're like, oh, it's addiction. Oh, you're an alcoholic. Oh my gosh, I don't want to associate with you. You were fine with them drinking every night with you, but now you have a problem and they have a problem? No.
Right? It's like, fuck you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're obviously not a true friend or family member, whatever you are to this person, because you're willing to get them sick, basically, but you're not willing to help them when they're down.
Yes.
And that is where I get angry at because that that's not a true person. That's just you being fake for all these years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I know for me, it wasn't alcohol for me, but you want to know what it was? It was shopping. And shopping was new to me. I was that person because I always wore like guy clothes. I always wore guys shirts, guys pants, anything because I could actually walk in and be like, I want that, and it fit because it's big and tall, right? So,
Yes.
it was never an issue. But once I got down to a size, I started loving dresses, and I got really into dresses, and then all of a sudden my whole closet was dresses. And now and here's what's funny is Melanie used to be the person that had like 5 shirts, 2 pairs of pants, like a handful of hoodies and I hate shoes, so I had like 2 pairs of shoes and that's it. So like I was not a shopper.
Okay.
I even hated going into places, but because I could now, the excitement was there and I was like, "Oh my god, I can do all these things." And so, yeah, I had to reel it in. I mean, Old Navy, I had an Old Navy card that was almost fucking maxed out. I had same thing with Victoria's Secret because I was like, I can wear bras, like regular bras
A
now.
Vicky, bro, I I would be
Like,
happy about, I would never buy them probably, but I would be happy if I could fit into one of their
right?
bottles too. I
I
get
was
that.
like, I was so excited because I got all my stuff from Lane Bryant,
Yes.
or Modern Woman when that was back in
Same
the day
thing.
because my mom worked
Torrid.
there. Yeah, a Torrid. Yes, girl. Because Torrid was a little fashiony at least. It had some
Yes.
style, you know?
Yeah.
So I would always have those kind of bras, but like I was never been able to do Victoria's Secret. So I mean, they gave me a little limit, but I got that little limit max. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel you. Like you just don't know what it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a kind of like a little thing in a hat, like which one's gonna be yours because yes, there is going to be some sort of transfer. I don't know what it's going to be for you. A lot of people, it is working out. Thank God that they have a healthier one. I've seen gambling. I've seen shopping. I've definitely seen alcohol and drugs because they like the fact of how fast you get drunk or high. But then they're like, oh, I feel fine. And then they're like, but you're not.
You're
You're
not.
not fine. Like I've had to tell it to so many people, like, check your blood alcohol. You could even
Mm-hmm.
get one of those breathalyzers.
Yes.
You're not fine. It's just you feel like it because you metabolize it and it went away, but the body functions are still
Still there.
inebriated. I think that's the right
Mm-hmm.
word. So it's like, guys, we have to really be responsible. And we've seen it in the community. I've had friends where I was nervous about them in the community, and I've even reached out to them, was like, hey, I've noticed a lot of your postings alcohol. Do you want to talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
Because once you start seeing someone, all their reels and videos have to deal with some sort of them drinking, that was concerning for me as a friend and being a person in the community. I'm like, oh, that's a sign right there.
I'll tell you, there's probably some bariatric mm, people that have had bariatric surgery on the in the TikTok community that hate to see me coming. I try to be as pleasant as I can be and just be like, hey, I don't know if you're a surgeon or you're program educated, but just FYI, transfer addiction, alcoholism, wishing you the best journey. Like I try to do it and they not like, this could happen to you because I don't know.
Right.
I see a 10-second clip on TikTok. I don't know what's really going on. Is this
Mm-hmm.
just a random day or is this an everyday?
Yep.
Do the same thing. And it's more of like, hey, just in case you weren't warned, just in case you didn't know, because unfortunately, there are a ton of people, thousands, probably
Yep.
hundreds of thousands that don't know.
They don't
And
know. And
until
it's so
somebody tells them like there's a correlation here, like,
mhm.
oh, and at least it, in my opinion, it not only educates them, it gives people an opportunity to say, this isn't my fault. Like like
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's not your fault. I guess it's hard for me to say what I mean, but there is a reason you're getting so um addicted, or you're feeling the I want to drink. Your mind is telling you, ooh, that vodka cranberry sounds really good. There's a reason beyond you. Like
Yes.
there's an internal reason that this is happening. So go deal with that. Like
Yep.
you didn't get to be 400 pounds overnight. There's a reason. Same with the alcohol, same with the gambling, same with the shopping, dealing with what's going on up here.
It's so important because we all have it. We all have
Mm-hmm.
something that's making us eat. I know mine stems from my childhood. I had a very chaotic childhood. I became the parent in my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So when those things happen, um you're going to have other things that happen to you, which is like me was eating. I wasn't a drinker. I wasn't the party kid. I loved school, and I loved school because I didn't have to be home. Like I even told it to my parents. They're like, "You're so good at school." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't have to be here."
Yay.
Here. It's a little cray cray at home. So at least, and I figured it out through therapy is like, you can control your grades, right? You can control what you actually read, whether you're going to do these assignments. So as a kid, you can only control certain things. And that's what I needed, was some sort of consistency, routine, control. So I took it out on my homework and learning, thank God. But like I could have been these other kids that were, getting high after school, drinking during school. Like I had friends that were like that. I would
Me too.
always be like, I literally would question every time, like, what are you doing? Like, why? It's too early. I'm like, it's noon. Like, what are we doing here? Like, at least wait
Yep.
till after school. We got to at least get school in, like
Yeah.
trying to help. But it's addiction is rooted inside you. Um,
Yes.
there's something going on, and I'm happy that you're here speaking about it because you're right. I have not met a recovery program that talks about it a lot. I have, seen some that they mention it, but they don't really go into depth of what that means. And I think more times are not that they get skipped on. They're supposed to screen you depending on what program you're in.
Oh, I have some stories on that, but yeah.
Oh, good. I would like to know because guess how long was my screening?
30 minutes.
15.
Oh, that's a great screening.
Yep. I got one 15-minute call before surgery. They told my surgeon that I'm not wackadoodle and I'm not going to be a hermit. And they're like, she's great. Push her through.
Push her through.
Yep. And to even know that I was 15 minutes, now some places at least make you go through like 6 different sessions, but I still hear 30 minutes all the time.
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to hear your opinion on the screening process.
So this is from my own personal experience. Like I told you, I'd gone through and just decided not to have surgery. I was approved. I had one 45-minute consult. It was one-on-one. With a physician, of course, that I was referred to, a psychiatrist, psychologist, I think psychologist, whoever can give the medical okay.
Yep.
Never met the man before. He didn't know anything about me. And, he asked, like, why do you want to have this surgery? What do you think are going to be the benefits of this surgery? And he asked me about my drinking habits. Now, that was years ago when I told him that in my 20s and early 30s that I binge drink on weekends with my friends. During the week, Monday through Friday, I didn't drink, but I would binge drink on the weekends. And like to the point of like not passing out, but to the point of like beyond inebriated binge drinking.
Yep.
I drank and drank and drank until 3:00 in the morning and the bars closed. And he asked me about my relationship with food. And I said, well, if I had a healthy relationship with food, I wouldn't be here with you trying to get bariatric weight loss surgery.
Yep.
He's like, okay. He asked me about my family history with alcohol. And I was like, well, we have alcoholism addiction, mostly alcoholism on my father's side of the family. Now my mom's side, my mom smoked cigarettes, but she didn't drink alcohol. Like mom couldn't even really touch alcohol. Her parents, there was no indication of addiction on my mom's side of the family other than her smoking. And he's like, okay. And I was approved for surgery. And if you go look at like the top 5 things that are people that are going to experience transfer addiction to alcohol, like 3 of the things I just said are in that top 5 list. Family, poor relationship with food, and poor relationship with a binge drinking alcohol. And I was approved.
Yep.
And to me, in some programs, it is literally just a check on the box.
Yep.
And we as a society in general, medical professionals, are so fat phobic that they, in my opinion, doctors that do some doctors that do these surgeries are so fat phobic and think skinny equals healthy that they ignore the potential risk for this to happen to people because the surgery's done. I don't care.
Yep.
Moving on to the next patient.
Oh, yeah. Hands are clean. Surgery went great. Peace. On to the next. And I'm actually impressed of what the questions were for you. I didn't get anything. No one asked me what my alcohol habits were. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No.
Were you a center of excellence? Do you recall?
Dr. Patterson. Was she center of excellence? I think she might have been. Yeah.
That's what cracks me up about these centers of excellence.
Yeah.
Center of excellence just means you've had X number of surgeries and nobody died on the table.
Right. Like, there should be more criteria to that.
Yeah.
Like, how about recovery? Can you tell me?
What's the 7 and 10-year outcome for your patients look like?
Yes.
Because
that would be so cool.
Addiction people don't really start to see it until like, I think 2 years post-op.
I was going to say year 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And So what's your long term? And that's also with studies. When you look at studies, people are like, well, this 2 year study. No, find one that's 5+ years, find a 7 year study, find a 10 year study.
Because in
Get your
2 years,
information from those studies.
God, the 2 year mark is like so monumental because you change a lot right there.
Yeah.
I tell that to everybody. I'm like, year 2 to 3 is like you're questioning every single thing that you're doing. You're like, do I like, I know for me, it was like, do I even like these shows? Am I just watching these shows just because? Do I like this music? Do I like the people I'm around? Do I like this food? Or am I just eating this food just because it's been in front of me forever? You're like, I question my everything and my style, my hair. Like, I was even the people that like dudes that were around because me and Eric split for 2.5 years now. I'm like, even that was a thing. So it's like, it's so changed. Like you change so much that should not be a mark. It should be 5 years.
5 years.
What have you done? How is the body? How is the mental state? What are you like? Because year 2, no, you're like a little toddler in this game.
You
Like,
just got, most likely you've hit or are near your goal weight. You're just learning how to live in a new body.
Yeah.
And
And
being able to go
maintain.
to Victoria's Secrets and yes, maintain a biggest thing after 2 years. You've hit your goal weight, you're past all your phases of foods and whatever. And, you're starting to probably eat larger, still small comparatively to 2 years ago.
Still larger.
Still larger. And it's a whole new, I saw that in Carrie. I don't have to have the surgery to know what I saw with her.
Right.
And her style changed too. Yeah.
Yep.
Her style changed, like going out, like having friends, being social. Like that was the biggest thing for me and I was happy for her. I was so thrilled to see her getting out of the house and making new friends and those things. Like I was so happy for her. But yeah, that's really after weight loss surgery, that's when I feel like it's like everything's starting to come together. But yes, you're questioning everything because you're different. Like
you're different.
Your body's different. People treat you differently. You're getting attention you didn't used to get. So
oh God, the attention's wild. I talk about all the time because I used to walk to my work. It was 4 blocks. So like I worked for the Department of Revenue and it was $65 to park there every month. No, thank you. I will walk my 4 blocks where it is $10 a month to park. So that's what I would do. And so in the beginning, I didn't have surgery yet. No one's looking at me. No one's saying hi. No one's like at opening doors for me when I got to the building or when I was going to the other building. And as I get surgery and I'm losing and losing and losing, I'm still doing my normal walk, right? Still seeing the same people, but apparently I'm new to them. They don't know who I am anymore. They're saying hi, they're smiling. I'm getting compliments as I'm walking. People, men and women, are opening doors for me. I was like, what the fuck this is wild. This is insane and then I watched there's a Netflix series where they test people's reactions and how they treat others actually. And I got to learn all about the fat phobic that you were talking about. So they put a big guy in the middle of a room and you're supposed to go in there and just get as close or not as close as you want, whatever you feel like is comfortable. Kind of a weird setup, but this is what they did. And any of the skinny people stayed way further back from him. Now, us big people would get closer, but wouldn't get really close. We still would be on that outside layer. So there is, whether we're big or not, a fat phobic just in us because society has said us fat people are gross, we're lazy, we're dumb, we're stupid, we don't know what we're doing, all because we can't control our weight. So if we can't control our weight, then we can't do anything, was how I've taken it as a big lady before. So and the whole test is showing people their actual like insecurities and their judgments of not knowing. They didn't realize they had these judgments until they were put in the situation. So I watched that and I was like, holy shit, like that's a whole different ball game. Like we all have these like judgments and insecurities and like not sure what to do when we're around big people. And I actually asked some doctors now that I have the podcast and I can talk to surgeons. Even they have it, like you were saying, with the doctors. A lot of them, the primary cares, are a lot fat phobic. They still believe what exactly you said, skinny means healthy. And that every time I know I went in, even if it was for a cold, you need to lose 20 pounds. It was always 20 pounds, never more. They're like, yep, you know what's going to cure that common cold? 20 pounds. Yeah. You're like, oh, hey Mel, your shoulder hurts? Oh, 20 pounds. Like, it didn't matter what the fuck happened to me. It was just, you better lose some weight. So, and here's what I thought is crazy interesting. And I think you will find this interesting too. There's bias between doctors. Some surgeons and doctors don't even like bariatric surgeons. They don't even like weight loss people in general. They're just like, they don't believe that it's a disease. Like, even at the top level for doctors, they have criticisms and judgments and stereotypes too. So it's everywhere. And it's insane to think that even your doctor, like, I just switched my doctor because I was tired of that dynamic. One, he wasn't personal at all. He barely talked. And I was so wondering, does he know what I'm saying? Like, he's not even, right? And so, I mean, the notes seem like he did, but like, I'm like, no. So I have a naturopath that actually does internal medicine. Mm-hmm. And it's a woman because I want to make sure my hormones are okay because I am 38, going to be 39 this year. I'm already having the sweats. I'm sure I'm going through because now I'm learning there's like, so you could once we hit 35, there's like a pre menopause that we go through. Like, it is insane what happens to our bodies for women after 35. So I'm like, I gotta have someone that knows what they're talking about because I'm about to go through all of the changes in my 40s and I don't need some dude that has no idea what the fuck this is, you know?
I've never, in emergency situations, I've seen men. But in general, I only go to female doctors. Yeah. And I had the same doctor for, I don't know, 15 years, and she finally retired. And that was like 2 years ago. And I have gone to 2 different new, like, primary care. It's a struggle. I mean,
it's a struggle.
They're women. And I start any new doctor I go to that I know that they're going to start talking about my weight. I look at them and just say, I am not a candidate for bariatric surgery. It is not the choice for me. So please don't put that on me. And if you want more information, let me tell you. But don't bring that up. I'm aware of my size. I'm aware of my weight. I'm aware of my health conditions because of such. I know diet and exercise are good for me, but I'm also in therapy to work through part of the mental part of diet and exercise to deal with the binge eating. And usually then they just shut up. But I go in with like, I already have a grudge against them because I already know. And let me just take your first 5 check boxes that you're going to say to me and let you check them off because I know. And we don't need to reiterate this conversation every time I come in here.
Oh, and God.
Thankfully, it sort of worked, but I could still, like this one that I just went to, I can already tell that I don't think she liked my approach. And I don't really care if she did or not.
Yeah.
I chose to come here. I can choose to go elsewhere, which I probably will. I only needed a prescription refill, so I can find another primary care for that. But I agree.
You know, this might be off topic, but I'm going to talk about prescription refills for a hot second. Because that son of a bitch of a doctor knew I was switching. I told him, I go, hey, my first appointment literally was today. It was this morning. It was June 13th, 10 a.m. I go, I need my Lexapro, my Wellbutrin, and my birth control. Like, I have to have those. And they're like, well, you're going to have to talk to her first before she'll send anything in. And I was like, okay, that's normal. So I messaged my primary care and he's like, well, you're no longer my patient. I don't give a fuck.
You're the last one who saw me.
Yep, you are the last fucking person that saw me, and you prescribed these to me. So, no, sir. So he was sending them in at a week at a time. 7-day pills. I'm like, what am I going to do with Lexapro and Wellbutrin? Like, am I going to sell that on the fucking street for $10 a pop?
Yeah, I get if it's a controlled substance, but we're talking about, like, pretty much almost should be an over-the-counter drug, like to a degree. Like they're not
right. And I'm taking just 20 milligrams of Lexapro. So I'm like, bro, come on. So
yeah.
I messaged nothing, right? So I call, leave a message, nothing. And then I got my period a second time in May. And I was mad.
Yeah.
So instantly I'm like, I'm on my cycle again because you will not refill my fucking birth control. Please refill at least that. Like I will just go in the sunshine, put my feet in the ground, whatever I have to do for my for my depression and my anxiety, but fucking I'm not going to keep having this goddamn period because
No.
I'm so regular that it knows if you don't take this pill and 2 days later you're going to start.
Yeah.
So and finally he did it. He sent me a 3-month supply.
Good.
I was like, yes, thank you. Because
I'm going to tell you about. Let me tell you about everything that happens to a woman on their period. Let me tell you all the details. That'll gross you out enough. You won't read it, and you'll just send the refill in. I know you don't want to hear it.
And I have brutal periods. They're not fun. At least one of the days I'm curled up.
We don't have cramps. That's not a real thing. You're
right. Yeah.
You're over exaggerating.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite. You're overreacting. You're being hysterical. Yeah. Hysterical. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. Thank you very much. We are in the new age where we have periods, guys, and our backs fucking hurt and our stomachs hurt. Like, and it's like a pulsation.
Things up there. Things up there hurt.
Things exist. Yeah. Guess what? If I can push out a child, which I have, that means I have a uterus, which has to be dealt with every month.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
It's so ridiculous. So I just had to do that rant because one is so fresh, and two, it's like, guys, just keep us on our meds. Like, I don't care as long as it's not a narcotic. I get it. Just fucking write the script because we've been on these for so long. Like I've been on my antidepressant and my anti-anxiety for about 2 years now. Now, I don't know what it'd be like if I took them off, but I also don't want to know. You know, I'm not in the mental state right now to do that. I've had a lot of life changes that has happened in the last 2 months, I would say. I mean, I don't have a co-host anymore. Hi. Oh,
yes,
wait.
I saw that update.
No one's there. So that's a whole life change that I've had to deal with. And I would hate to have had to deal with that with no antidepressant or anti-anxiety med with me, you know, like would have not have been fun. So guys, one, get therapy. I see a therapist every Tuesday, 1:00. Don't care that you know the time. I'm there. I have not missed one.
Every Monday at 2 p.m.
Yes. See? Yes, yes. I don't know how those people do it in the mornings. I'm like, I cannot wake up and be like, so this is what happened.
About my sister's death and all these other. No.
Right? Yeah.
I'd stay in bed.
Exactly. Like mine's at 1:00. I get to sleep in, get to move around a little bit, get my head straight. Like, because depending on the session, and tell me if I'm wrong, but depending on the session, that can really fuck up my day. Right? Like,
yes,
sometimes it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, there's some days literally I walk in some Mondays I walk in, I let my dogs out, I feed them, and I'm like, okay, we're going to go lay down. We're not even watching TV. We're not even making dinner. We're just, we need a cold compress and to decompress. And then we'll get back to feeding ourselves and getting ready for bed. But yeah, there are days that I cannot. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to text anybody. I don't want to get on. I just zen.
Right. I don't want to look at my phone. Nothing. Just and like you said, not even TV. No. I don't even want that. I need silence. I need sometimes I just put on my brown noise machine and I just fucking sleep for a couple hours. Cause it's rough. I've had it to where like we were talking about my childhood, talking about my mom. And by the end of it, like, she's like, you need to go do something like self-care cause you just did a lot. And I was like, yeah, probably. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I have a backyard. I love my backyard and I will walk it. So that's what I did. I walked the perimeter of my yard and almost puked twice because that's how much was going on. And my body was like, got to get it out. And I finally did puke and it was interesting. Like I felt so much better.
Hey, That's great. I'm glad it worked out.
Right?
You found
It's
that peace afterwards. That's what matters.
it was so rough though. It's like, guys, so I want everyone to know, like, we feel you. We get it. Weight loss is a demon in itself, and we need to look more inward on where is that coming from, because like Amanda said, and I won't stop talking about it, transfer addiction's fucking real. We cannot hide it. We cannot deny it any longer. Amanda's sister should be here right now. And I am very sad that she's not here with us. I'm not talking to her about her journey, what has gone through for her, what's going on with her right now. Like, it really sucks to not be able to ask those questions. Like, I can't even ask, like, what are your non-scale victories? Because that's one of our, like, we've always been about non-scale victories. That's the hugest thing that I like to celebrate. And it's sad that I can't even ask her that. Like, I mean, I loved hearing that you loved how her smile was so big and she was wearing the clothes. She was going out with her friend, making friends, going out on dates. Like, that is what I love to hear, because those are all non-scale victories that keep us going and keep us still, like, in our heads motivated to keep going. Yes. So at least you got to see that. I'm very happy for you. You got to see what a lot of us do get to feel and see. But if you guys are hiding out there with your transfer addictions, just know you're not alone. At the end of this, I will put some numbers down in the description for you to call to get help. This month is, because this will get aired this month. So this is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I am actually dedicated myself to spotlighting one man each day of this month, so that way we can really bring eyes to it. This is also Pride Month. I have lots of friends and family that are LGBTQ, and I'm right there behind you. And we just want support. That's all I'm here for, is supporting. Amanda is here to support. She doesn't want what happened to her sister to happen to anybody else. I can see that from her. I can feel that from her just through the screen. She's very passionate about what she's doing. And you're an addiction therapist, aren't you?
Me? No.
Yeah. But you're like a specialist, because you know all, like, the thingies.
I am self-taught. I am not a therapist. I am not medically. No, I work in insurance.
Okay.
I'm not no, it's self-taught and literally just doing a lot of, my degree field is in ology, not psychology. But yes, I have experience in the field of working with people in addiction, in addiction recovery. But I would not call myself a medical professional or have any certifications. So experience working in the field, have some schooling in the field, but would never introduce myself in any way, shape, or form as being a professional in the field, because I feel like that'd be disrespectful to those that actually have gotten all the certifications and all the checkbox and spent all the money, which I have not. But I have done a ton of research on transfer addiction, solely based on Carrie's experience, to try to help educate others. Those things that I talk about, I base solely off of the research I've read and can provide and do provide.
I commend you for that. Just going out there, getting your feet wet, reading and doing all the research. Now, with all the things that you have learned, we're going to wrap up here in a second. What would you tell a person going through this process? What would be the first thing you want to talk to them about?
I would, honestly, if somebody is going through this process, I would 100% suggest to them, regardless of whether or not they think they have a binge eating disorder or have been diagnosed with a binge eating disorder, I would encourage anybody going through this process or considering this process to seek therapy as part of their journey before, during, and after surgery.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. I couldn't agree more with Amanda. That has been, I didn't get therapy till 4 years out. So I could have definitely benefited from therapy, because I had breakdowns. I would have breakdowns every few months, not knowing why. And just because I realized I can't eat my feelings anymore. That's what I realized, is that's the problem. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to process. I was just getting angry that I couldn't shove a bunch of food in my mouth. And it's so true.
And I think for people that, I know there's people that have this surgery and it has to do with the hormones like PCOS and or age and menopause. And so I know there are people that have this surgery that probably wouldn't have been diagnosed with a binge eating disorder.
Hmm.
Um, where the hell was I going with that? Oh, for me though, the people that have not or would not consider themselves or have been not been diagnosed as having a binge eating disorder, I think what you and I talked about previously of the way people treating you differently.
Hmm.
So it might not be not being able to binge eat your feelings now post op. It's more of you see how people treat you differently.
Yeah.
You seeing how society has treated you differently, and working through those mental gymnastics and realizing how, like, was my life before weight loss surgery a lie? Or just working through that process of now
Yeah.
I'm in this body and letting your mind wrap it, for 40 years or 30 years, you were in this larger body. Now you're in this thinner body. It's socially acceptable, being able to navigate through that as well, through the mental health side of it.
It's very, very hard because when you become, like we were talking about, like when you're smaller, the whole getting treated differently, you also don't know people's intentions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like to think everyone's honest and nice and have good intentions. And I've learned these last 5 years that is not true. And it boggles my mind. It bothers me that there's shady people out there that don't care and just want what they want for themselves and will do anything to get it, whether that's hurting you or not. So, I would say even as we get smaller people, just be mindful of who you're letting into your
Yes.
world. I did not know what Meg meant. Meg, I love you. She's another bariatric patient, and she taught me like how to save my energy and how other people can drain your energy and how to protect it. And I really wasn't understanding what she was talking about until I met someone where I was like, oh, I get it. I can't be around you a lot, but you're nice, but I need it to be in doses.
Yeah.
And I realized I was like, oh, I can protect my own energy. I just thought, oh, I just have to be nice to everybody, do whatever. I'm a people pleaser, do whatever they need me to do,
Yeah.
call it good. But then I realized
So,
I was letting people do
yes,
that.
as a larger bodied person, I think we tend to do that. We
Yeah.
allow people, we are kind to people, and we are nice. Talking about my experience
Hmm.
personally, because we're in a larger body and we want to be accepted, and we know that people will use our weight against us and
Yep.
be cruel because of it. So we go out of our ways, and I think to our own detriment, of being nice to people that really don't deserve it.
Yeah.
They don't deserve our kindness. They don't deserve our smile. They don't deserve our energy. Um, yeah. And as a larger person body, I'd see myself doing that all the time. As an older adult,
Hmm.
larger bodied, I've gotten to the point of, I don't need them. There's nothing about them that I need in my life. There's no, yes. But, you talk about somebody in their 20 or 30s going through this that haven't necessarily, well, maybe early 30s. I think in our 30s also depends on the person. But, people in their 20s going through this surgery and not realizing that they're being overly nice to people because of their weight and what
Yep.
society has taught us. So, yes, navigating exactly that of, you don't have to be nice to people. You don't have to give them your energy,
No.
regardless of your weight.
Yeah. And I learned that like last year, guys. So at 37, I learned that I do not have to give away my energy. I can actually protect my own energy and give it to those that deserve it. That you can actually tell people no. It was so hard for me to say no. But it's becoming easier and easier as one, I get older, and two, I'm further in my journey, because as I think that you're going to say in your 30s, we kind of slowly start not giving a fuck about
Yeah.
what other people think, what other people say, which I can 100% say that too, where it's like, yeah, I don't. It's like, if you're going to be an asshole, then just be over there. Like,
Yeah.
that's who you are, obviously. I don't need it. Don't bring that on to us,
Nope.
right?
We got
So,
enough of our own BS to worry about. We don't need yours too.
thank you. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you, Amanda, being so open and honest with us about your journey, about your sister's journey, how it all intertwined. And, I wish she could be here. Rest in peace, Carrie. I know that you left some really good people behind you that are always going to remember you. And we have this episode and it'll never go away. It'll always be up. You'll always be remembered. So thank you again, Amanda. And Thank you, everybody else, for joining, listening. I hope you took something from this. I know I did. Again, we're going to have all the numbers below. So if you do need help with any sort of addiction, you will have that to go to. And yeah, so until next time, everybody, drink your water, get your protein, and be kind to one another.